Okay, guys, I've had lots of troubles. If you're out there, I'm not sure if you're out there or not. Oh, man. This live stream, I don't know, man. It's really complicated. The machine's not complicated, but the actual... It works. Hi. Sorry, guys, I've had lots of problems with this. I'm still trying to get it set up. Alright, 7 viewers. Alright, ask me questions, guys. I think it's working, but I'm still having lots of problems with it. Let me mute. Alright, it works. Sorry about that. I actually started 2 minutes early, and just problem after problem after problem. It's weird. I don't know. Alright, so what do you want to know? Let me know what your expectations are, programmer. Just so you know, I'm going to give a little overview of myself. I got a degree in computer information systems in 1997, and I went to work straight away as a programmer. I didn't know anything. I got involved in VB6, Visual Basic 6, ASP, Classic ASP. I wanted to build web pages and e-commerce. I got into .Net when it came out, and I became a Visual Studio .Net guy, C#, ASP.NET, a lot of web design. So that's my background. Welcome to live stream. Yeah, thanks, man, because it's harder than it looks, really. All right, so I spent a lot of time in Visual Studio .Net, years and years of web development, SQL Server, and all that. Most recently, though, I've gotten into DevOps. That means Amazon Web Services, it means storage, AWS storage, it means Lambda, it means EC2 virtual machines. More and more companies are not wanting to own the hardware, so AWS and development are going hand in hand. All right, ask me questions. What do you want to know? As the first time, this is the first time I've live streamed on this channel. I did this the other day on another channel, and I had 40 to 50 people watching. And I'm not sure how many are watching right now, though. What I want to do is... So at the moment, a top-level developer. This is a full-stack developer. That means you know databases, you know middle tier, you know a language or two really, really well, and maybe you know front end, and maybe you're really willing to learn and you can learn fast. You have 10 years of experience or more, right? Top level right now in the Midwest, you maybe make 110,000, 110. However, if you are super good in what they call principal, I've heard of, in St. Louis area, people making as much as 135,000 per year, not per hour. Now, per hour, a really good developer right now will be about $60 to $65 an hour. There's always exceptions to that. There's always exceptions. You know, I've heard of people making $90 an hour in Chicago and $40 an hour downtown St. Louis. So it depends on what you're doing, how much they need you, how short the contract is. But right now, top-level developers, 110,000, you're doing pretty good. If you can get 90 to 100, you're doing pretty good in the Midwest. Now, that's totally different on the West Coast. 40-plus weeks. What does that mean? Okay, so I'm getting a question. This is good. First question, I'm getting my master in MS in computer science. That's really, really good, by the way. And no experience in the marketplace yet. Okay, you need to make your experience. Sign up for something, volunteer for something, make a website, make a project. That way you can go into an interview and talk about it. Go volunteer, make a project, and then you can talk about how you succeeded, what you did, what you can't. You need to be able to talk. And so make a project if you have no experience. 40 hours a week. 40 hours a week is standard. Everyone works 40 hours a week. So that's 40 hours a week, usually 3 to 4 weeks vacation. And that you should be around the 100 mark in the Midwest. It'll be a lot more in San Francisco, though. I should go into management as a software engineer. The problem is I don't want to manage people. I don't want to be that guy. I think you have to have a certain personality type to be a manager. You have to be kind of a jerk. You have to be kind of a, why aren't you working? Why aren't you working? And I'm not like that. I don't want to manage people. If you had zero experience, and you're just getting out of college, you should be able to get $50,000 if you pretty much know nothing. I mean, $40,000 to $50,000, and then after like a year or two, you can job hop and go $65,000, right? That's how you make your big leaps. When I first got out of college in 1998, I made $30,000. To me, I was making zero, so that was a lot of money. And then my first raise, they gave me like 5%, you know, so it was like $33,000 or something. And then I moved to the big city. I went from Tulsa to Chicago, and I made a jump straight to $50,000. And from there, I went to $60,000. I had to change jobs to make money. So we have a computer science student learning C++, about to start learning object-oriented programming. How do I move from beginner to intermediate to advanced? Honestly, you need to be hired. You need to be in a job somewhere. Once you get that job, it's going to be like bang, bang, bang. You're going to learn so fast in your first job. Do as much as you can, training on your own, but that first job is going to be where you learn. They're going to hammer you in that job, and you're going to have to learn. So get an entry-level job in C++ or C# or something, and then you will learn like crazy on the job, because 8 hours a day, 8 hours a day, 8 hours a day, 8 hours a day, you're going to learn. You are going to learn 1,000 times more than you ever did in college. If so, someone does not have a degree, but they have completed projects, websites, a few video games. Will it be hard for me to get a job in .NET? It will be. I don't think so. I think you'll have to start out at the bottom. You're going to have to go in and say, here's what I've done, here's what I've done, here's what I've done, but I don't really have experience. And the job description will tell you. Read the job description. We are looking for entry-level programmers. We are looking for low-level, entry-level, non-experienced, whatever. The job description will tell you. Then when you get in there, they'll know what to expect. So don't go after a principal position, 10 years experience. The job description will tell you, okay? Doesn't code get boring as time goes? That's up to the individual. What happens to me is over time, if I don't take a vacation or a break, yeah, I get pretty bored. It's like the same thing over and over. But then if I take a break for like 2, 3, 4 weeks or a month and do something else and come back, I get excited about it again. So over time, it does get boring, but you have to find ways to keep learning. And keeping learning, too, is making it interesting. Right now, I'm getting away from web development, and I'm doing DevOps, and that's renewed my interest because I'm doing something different, and it's challenging. You have to keep yourself challenged. Once you get bored, it gets too easy, you're going to have to challenge yourself and do something else, and that will keep your interest. For game developers, I honestly... Somebody else answer. That's a whole different realm. Game developers have a whole different marketplace. They have a whole different world because it's a competitive environment. I would probably say C++. Also, game development requires some engine coding, like Unreal Engine. What I would do to become a game developer is go on Udemy and look up game development in those engines, those 3D world engines. Start learning about that stuff and get involved in that, but take a class. But I'm a corporate programmer. I find my niche is there. It's fairly routine, and I like it. I don't really want to be a game programmer. I just don't. Because to me, it's a lot more competitive, and I just don't want to. I don't need to go there. How long are you supposed to be at a company? Well, if you like the company, forever. Guess what? The problem with IT is that it's project-based. So you'll do a project, you'll be happy about it, and then things will change, and then they'll put you on another team, and then you'll do another project, maybe 6 months or a year, and then they'll put you on a team with a bad manager, and it will suck, and then you hate it. Every day you're like, you hate it, and you hate it. Then that's time to change jobs. But if you can stay at a job forever, stay there. I was recently at a job for almost 4 years and I loved it, but the company completely collapsed. So a bunch of people had to quit. So that's how long you stay with a company, as long as you can. As long as you can tolerate it. All right. I'm going to try to answer everything, but they're starting to come quickly. Which website is best to learn programming? I think Udemy, udemy.com. It's like these online tutorials, online videos. Look at Udemy. I'll put a link in the description later. But you pay like $12 for a class. You get like 6 hours. I think the video training is the best. Also, if you can do one of those boot camps, do a boot camp if you can. Don't put the example I just gave you. If you have a text file that you want to encrypt, it says I'm not online anymore, but I think I am. If you have a text file you want to encrypt, just exchange lines. The first one for the second one, the second for the third, and just change lines. That would be kind of encrypting it. That's the first step. The second step would take each word and then exchange them. The third step might be replace every R with a dollar sign. That's how you build. Just keep building onto it. Keep changing it. And eventually you'll have something. That's how you build. All right. Okay. I'm a full stack developer and I have been in this profession for 9 months. I just love to code. You are going to do very well. If I have to grow, do I learn and master more languages or go deep into what I'm working on? Well, a little of both. So what you do is you get good at what you're doing, but then you start to look around and think, what don't I know? What does the architect of the company, the guy that's above you, what does he know that you don't? And how does it make him valuable? If he knows Amazon Web Services and you don't, and he's architecting all these things and all you're doing is coding down here, you need to start learning what he knows. Look around you, see what the company needs, what they're using. Also, go out on the job boards and just read the description. C++, C#, Azure, AWS, just start reading those. And you'll start to see a pattern. And you'll start to see, well, dang, I better learn that because this company and this, especially when you start interviewing, they'll start asking you. They were asking me, do you know Angular? Do you know Angular? Do you know all of them? I'm like, I better learn Angular, right? DevOps. What is DevOps? DevOps is you're a developer. You're coding. You're solving problems. You're doing logic for a company, but you also need to move it to the cloud. That's operations. So if you're managing servers in Amazon Web Services and you're managing Lambda and you're pushing code out, you might be managing a web server. Now you're not just doing development, but you're also doing operations. Operations is the management of servers, virtual machines, Lambda. It's kind of the cloud works configuration. Now you're doing two things, your dev and your ops. I have done my university some projects, but I still fear real life projects to do what you recommended me to do. Okay, don't worry. I had the same exact problem. I went to college. I took COBOL. I took theory, but then I got to my first job and I was like, what the hell is going on? So what I did was I was honest, and they knew that I didn't know anything. And so they would give me tasks to do that kind of made sense. And so I would just do those tasks and I would start to figure it out. I'm like, once you start going, after about 2 or 3 months, you start to learn. You listen and you learn and you start to figure things out, and then you start to expand. But don't worry, they're not going to go in there and say, all right, you're going to build all that website by yourself. You're usually on a team, okay? You're on a team of people. And the new guy, we all know the new guy doesn't know anything, all right? You don't know anything, don't say anything, don't worry about it. All you have to do is be eager and willing to learn as the new guy and say, just give me something I understand, and don't be afraid to ask questions either. As the new guy, you got to ask questions. Where is my account? How do I log into that server? How do I get what I need? You have to speak up. And usually that means the daily meetings are actually a good thing, because anytime you hit a roadblock, you say, I can't get to this because of this. It's not because you're stupid, it's because you don't know anything, because companies are very complex, okay? All right, 1 second. I'm trying to find a good question. Hi from India, hello. I work with a lot of people from India. They're very nice, good people, very smart people. Would you rather study computer science or software development for a security job? Probably computer science. That stuff is pretty rough, okay? So the more you know, actually you would study computer science and you would just start studying security, penetration testing. I actually went to DEF CON 17. It was a hacker convention. It was really interesting. I just went there, I took my laptop and just went to everything, just listened. And then I listened and learned. It was really fun. It was in Las Vegas, but I haven't been back since. As I mentioned, I'm a web developer and I like it, but I feel lately I find it less and less challenging. Yep. You need to get into DevOps. Look up DevOps. Learn Amazon Web Services. Amazon Web Services literally is gigantic. It is 224 products. It is so huge that you're never going to know it all. Just start off with what you need, which are EC2 virtual machines. Create some virtual machines. Learn about storage. Learn about users. Learn about Lambda functions. These are the things that we use the most. And storage and cloud and like web hosting, cloud stuff like that. If you're bored with something, Amazon Web Services, man, I'm telling you. Okay, I heard, does the old matter in programming? What does that mean? What old? Okay, so, here's a good question. I'm learning .NET. I have MVC project. That means Model View Controller. It's just a different way of organizing a project. With shopping cart functions, would that be enough for applying for jobs? For some jobs, yes. But for Fullstack, probably not. Fullstack means, were you in the database? Did you create users in the database and products? Did you store things? Did you do the shopping cart stuff? Did you do credit cards? Did you just do the web front end, or did you do the whole thing? That matters. And there's jobs for both, but if you did the whole thing, you're going to be more valuable. I think you're going to be fine with MVC project. All right, I don't have a college degree in computer science. What should I expect on the interview? What is the reality of companies hiring self-study developers versus graduates? More and more companies, they have a shortage. There is a shortage. We cannot find enough programmers. So you have a good chance, at least in the St. Louis area, you have a good chance of getting hired. You just have to show spirit. You have to show, we are starting to hire people that have just gone through the coding guerrilla camps now. My big company is hiring people because we need them so badly. What we need are smart people that are willing to learn and learn quickly. They have a good attitude. They want to learn. They want to learn coding, and that's what we're looking for. They're not going to make as much, but it's a good way to get started. You're doing very well. All right, DevOps videos. I should do that. I should make DevOps videos. Well, yeah, that's a lot of work. I am aiming at .NET side. I would really like developing desktop apps. Is there any future with WPF, and should I focus on WPF? The problem is every company is different. I've been doing web development. The last company I went to, no web development. It's a healthcare company. So what they do is they move files around. We have files moving all the place. I just had to just say, all right, I'm going to learn whatever you need me to learn. So I didn't get the choice. I just went into the company. I liked the company. And they were using DevOps, AWS. We were using Dell Boomi. I'm using Boomi now. Have you ever heard of that? Well, it's this thing that moves files around. So I'm just willing to learn. So you don't go in there thinking, I'm going to do this. Go in there thinking, I can do this, but I'm willing to learn. What kind of tasks were I given when I was a junior developer? Oh, basically simple file movement, documentation, I was given a lot of time. When I first became a consultant, I was a little in over my head, and they expected more of me than I could do, and I struggled. I did struggle. You probably will struggle too at first, but don't worry about it. All right, I'm getting too many questions now. All right. How to deal with office politics in IT industry. It has taken me years and years and years. and years to get to this. You have to separate internalizing with externalizing. If you allow politics to get into your mood, it will destroy you. I've been there. I keep it outside of me now. I do not internalize politics. Whenever there's a disagreement or someone gets mad at me, I externalize it. I say, you're the one with the problem, not me. It's very hard to do, but you cannot get involved in office politics. You need to know what's going on. You need to know what's going on, and you need to create alliances with your friends at work to defend against politics, because there's always politics. They're always going to hurt you, but you need to externalize it, not let it get to you, and leave it at the door. And at the end of the day, you can always leave because we're programmers and we've got lots of opportunity. Could there be a surplus of programmers? I have not seen it in my 22 years, not once. There's always a demand. Every company needs information. They need to move it from there to there, and it's all different. All different. There could be a surplus, but I haven't seen it yet in 22 years. And it's worse than ever now. We need people more than ever. All right. Sorry if I missed your question, but it's kind of going so fast now. All right. You need to know, do I need to know regular expressions? I have never learned regular expressions very well. What I do, though, is I look them up all the time. I've never gone out of my way to learn them because there's always a pattern. It's good to know, but it's something you can always look up. They're usually just a one little thing like, oh crap, I need to validate an email address. I go to the web, I pull it down, and I use it, it's done. So do you need to know it? Yeah, kind of you do. But can you go steal it when you don't need? You're not writing these regular expressions all the time. It's a rare thing to write them all the time. You just need it like once a month. So, do you want to learn something you use once a month, or you just want to go on the web and steal something? So know it, but you don't have to. What do I choose, Arduino or Raspberry Pi? I've used both of them. They're both cool. Raspberry Pi is probably a little more advanced. It's got an HDMI out and stuff. Arduinos, though, are really fun to program, motors and things like. You can do both. You can do both. They're both cool. I think Arduinos are cheaper, though. You can actually buy the bare bones ones and solder on. They're like, you can get them as cheap as $10 each. And that means if you wanted to like float one off a balloon or something and just let it go and you don't care, you wouldn't want to do that with your Raspberry Pi, though. So they're both cool. Probably the Raspberry Pi is more powerful. Lately, there's been so many new languages claiming they are the best. Should people stop chasing for the perfect language and make do with what we have? Yes. What you need to do is you learn one language really well, and it's the basis for all the others. There's variables, there's loops, there's functions, there's objects. Those are the basis. That's the basis for all of them. And in the most case, I don't need to know Python. But I've run into a thing recently where we're using Lambda expressions, and I'm a C# coder. Well, Lambda it's in Linux. Linux doesn't run, but you can use something called Visual Studio Code that allows you to use cross-platform .NET. So you can still use C# in a Lambda expression, but it also will use Python. So my point is, learn one language really well, and then when you have to, when they ask you for it and you need to learn something else, you do it then. But once you know that one language really well, it's not that hard to learn another one. Okay? Sorry, give me a second. I would learn C, C++, C# first. Just my feeling. Python's good too. The .NET framework, it has a lot of stuff built in. It's really cool. Alright, do I have any recommendations on websites, forums about tech for us to keep ourselves informed about IT in general? I don't. I would say, for me, I already know what's going on because I'm in a job where a lot of people actually know more than I do. So I know what's going on. If I go, I'm telling you, the job boards, careerbuilder.com is where I go for jobs. It's one of the places. There's Dice and others and Monster and all that, but I go to Career Builder, just read the descriptions of the job, type in .NET developer, Java developer, SQL developer, database administrator, and just start reading. That's the skills you need. As for forums, there's probably are some, but I don't need them. I don't need to know. I already know Angular, .Net, AWS are really hot right now. I can just look around in my company and I know that. How many languages are there? Oh my God, I've never heard of most of them you're saying. Yeah, I know. That's a problem with this industry. I always said, I almost think it's harder to be a programmer than to be a doctor. I know being a doctor is super hard because you got to go to school for 7 years and it's super hard and all that. But what we do changes all the time. Like I said, learn one language well. And when you get on the job, you will use that one language more than the others. You will use it and use it and use it. You'll get really good at it. And if you stay in the same job, they generally use the same technology. So you'll get really good at that technology. Your first job or your main job is going to teach you 80% of what you need to know. And you're going to get really good at it. It won't be until you leave to go to another job that your skill set may or may not apply perfectly. Does that make sense? .NET or Java? Go look at the boards. Type in Java on Career Builder. Are there 132? Type in .NET. Are there 225? Now you tell me, which ones are paying higher? What do you want to learn? Do you want to go down the Java path? How much money does it make? Is it growing? Go on the job boards. They'll tell you. For me, I've been doing fine with .NET, and I like it. I've never needed to do Java. Oh boy, there's so many. I love blockchain. Blockchain's freaking awesome. I own Bitcoin. I own Litecoin. I own Ethereum. I owned it way back. It went way high, and then it came back down. I'm not selling though. I love blockchain. It's freaking awesome. It's wonderful. Love from India. Hello, India. Man, is it late there? Is it late? I want to ask that the world is moving from AI and machine learning. Will it reduce jobs in the software market? I don't see it right now. I think even more jobs. Nobody understands AI yet. Nobody understands machine learning at our level. Maybe in Silicon Valley they do, but right now businesses need you to help them with their data. They don't care about machine learning unless it can help them. You would have to, if you were in a company, you would have to convince them why machine learning is great. They don't know. You're smarter than them. You're the developer. You know, you would come to them and say, hey man, machine learning is really awesome. I think it would help us. They don't know. Dude, management and jobs, they don't know. You know more than they do. Thank you for the compliment. I hope I am helping you. Are algorithms important? These big tech companies like Google, Amazon, and etc. take priority in them. Can you even remember all those tree data structure? Can I remember? I don't remember a whole lot. I look up a lot of stuff. Google and Amazon have these ridiculous algorithms. YouTube has algorithms that I can kind of try and figure out as I go along. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the decreased demands for machine learning engineers? I think it's great. Machine learning, AI, get into it, man. Get into it. You'll be on the cutting edge. Machine learning is awesome. I don't know much about it. I honestly don't believe in it. I still at the base core of machine learning, I think it's just code that gets better at figuring things out, but it's still code, you know. But still, I think it's hot. I've not heard of SawCon. Never heard of it. Hey, Nepal. Someone asked, computer security or AI or machine learning, which have better scope in the future? All of them. I think computer security would be really good though too, and interesting. Preventing it. I almost thought about going into security too because it's interesting, like trying to hack yourself. I've tried to hack my Wi-Fi before. I've learned how to hack my Wi-Fi up to a point. I like security though. I mean, it's not going to go away. Can I say, interview, that I have done a project from learning from Udemy, or will it give a bad impression? It will give a bad impression if that's all you've done. You need to do more than Udemy. You need to have done something. You need to have built something. I would go to a boot camp, a guerrilla boot camp or something. Don't just say you watched a Udemy video. That's not enough. Have you seen Shugma? No. How old were you when you started coding? I was like 20. I begged my mom to buy me a computer and she wouldn't do it. It was too expensive. I wasn't until I got to college, way late in life, that I got into computers. But then again, it was 1990s, so computers were not everywhere like they are now. How to adapt to new programming languages fast. Which sites are good? First of all, you need to have one core language, like C#. You need to understand variables, loops, functions, objects, classes. Once you understand that core, learning new programming languages is not that hard. And you won't need to know them that fast anyway. When you sign up for a new job, you will tell them, I know C#, but I don't know Java. And they should say, well, okay, are you willing to learn? And if you get hired, you have to be honest and say, all right, I don't know it. How do I install the Java virtual machine? How do I do this? And that's how you will learn. Work-life balance. Do I believe in it? Of course. Of course. I take all the time off I can. You got to get away from this stuff, man. I go for runs and jogs. You got to get away from work. Like I said, the more time you spend away from programming, the more you'll like it when you get back. So I'm just curious how many people are watching right now. I can't tell. Is there a way around working with someone else's bad code? I have seen a function 3,000 lines. Eee. There's no way around it really, unless you can convince others that it's so difficult to work with it needs to be rewritten. You need to bring the issue up. Bring it up and say, look, this code is very difficult to deal with. It is 3,000 lines long. This code is written not well, okay? And say, if you don't believe me, go look at it. That's what I would say. If they don't believe you, you tell me how to change that code. It might be worth it to the company to rewrite the bad code. But you have to convince them that it's true. And if they don't believe you, you have to point to it and say, well, look. All right, I manage. How many hours per week does an average programmer work? I work 40 hours a week. I'm not going to work any more than that unless I get paid. Occasionally, there's a problem or something. You have to work 44 or 45. I will not work more than 40 hours a week because I don't want to get burnt out. There are people that work 50 to 60. Depends on if you're hourly or not. But I will not do it. Thank you. 33 watching. Thank you. That's plenty. I wouldn't want a whole lot of. I wouldn't want hundreds of people watching. I can't handle it. What do you think about learning JavaScript ecosystem as my main focus, like React and Node? I think that's good. I'm hearing a lot about React and Node. I don't know Node right now. I think that'd be good. React and Node are good. JavaScript is good. I use JavaScript in my web development a lot. I do as much as I can on the front end with JavaScript. JavaScript's really, really good. I can't say my current salary, but it's let's say it's greater than 100,000 per year, and it's less than 150,000. It's somewhere. It couldn't be in the middle. It's not in the middle. It's not above. It's somewhere in there. Okay, I can't say it. And I'm happy with that. I know a guy making 170,000, but he's under a lot of pressure. So I'm happy where I'm at. I'd be happy with 90 or 100,000. It's not as much as you might think when you have a house, you have kids. We pay $1,150 a month for daycare. Poof, gone. Mortgage, $1,500 a month. Poof, gone. So taxes, poof, gone. So you think that's a lot of money, but when you add a family, taxes, daycare, all that stuff, your money goes away. Okay, how are company hiring prices for Indians in general? I think companies like hiring Indians. However, they don't like the paperwork. They don't like doing that. Most of them don't do that paperwork. My company does do it right now. Healthcare company does do it. I work with a lot of Indians right now. It's just a matter of there's a time and expense that goes with the paperwork, working with foreign workers and all that stuff. A lot of companies just don't want to do it. But they have to because there's not enough programmers here. Do I work and study after hours? Well, I kind of get burned out. So sometimes I do. Right now I'm going to go do some AWS courses, like maybe 20 minutes a night, but I really don't like doing that because it kind of gets old and boring, and I like to make YouTube videos. I have another channel, so I try not to study and work after hours, but I do it because I need to get ahead. You know what I mean? Is C++ good for making games? I think I answered this earlier. I think it's a good basis, but I think the game developers, I have not done game development. That is totally different. I've already answered this, but I think they use these engines, these Unreal engines and stuff to help you build the world. And game development is different. It's highly competitive from what I've heard. And I think a computer science degree is required. It's probably more interesting, but it's a realm that I just never got into. It just wasn't my path. All right. What does it take to get from a programmer job to software architect? Good question. All right, it takes experience. So the problem with being an architect is, how do you architect for a company if you don't know anything about it? Well, you have to have worked there. So usually what you do, architects work for a company for like 5 years, then they understand the business, they understand how the data flows, because these businesses are all different. There's financial, there's healthcare, there's software, there's dairy. I've worked in all of those, by the way. So once you know how the business works, then you can architect solutions for them. But usually you have to be a programmer for 5 years, and then there's a void or something, and you say, I want to be an architect. Then you move up within the company, but it's very hard to be an architect in a company you've never worked at before. Because the first thing you get there, you don't know how the company works, right? Don't look to me for being a gaming expert, a gaming programmer expert. Please do more research. That is not what I do. There's other people for that. I don't want to talk about. I don't want to put you. I don't want to be negative, okay, about that. Is learning how to program online better than learning it at college? That's a good question. Actually, I think it is. However, college is meant to give you all the extras, right? That's why I took geology, I took accounting, I took economics, I took finance, I took business law, I took business writing. College gave me all the others, right? Programming is just programming. So you have to think about it. College is good, but you don't have to have it. So learning programming, though, is probably better to just do it on your own. Because can teachers really teach in a classroom how to program? Probably not. The best way to learn is to do it yourself and to follow along. A teacher giving a lecture on programming, is that going to help you? I don't think so. What is the name of your second channel? Anything with Wheels. It's a ham radio channel. Anything with Wheels. What web development project would you consider a good for a refresher? Or are you ready to hire if you see them on a resume? If I have a web project and I see someone's done one, I would hire if it's good. I want to see an e-commerce site where you've dealt with credit cards, PayPal, Visa, you have a shopping cart, you've done the front end, you've done the back end, you've done security. I want to see that you've done it all. And then I'm going to hire you to do my website, right? And I want to see that you've taken, when you type a credit card in on a website and you go charge someone and you show them, that's a whole ordeal you need to learn. Do learning continuously and keeping informed is the only ways to survive in the IT industry? Yes. I mentioned earlier I was at a company for 4 years and I got kind of stale. And the company really collapsed. And so I left the company and I was slapped in the face with reality. Like, I hadn't even learned MVC over those 3 years, and that was old now. I had to learn MVC and Node and Angular, and I'm like, oh my God, TypeScript. I'm doing all these crazy things I had to learn really, really fast, right? I was able to do it, but it's critical that you're always on top of things. It sucks, but it's what keeps you ahead of everyone else, right? Think about that. Are there any similarities between electronic engineering and software engineering? I don't think so. I think electronics, the problem with electronics is a lot of that is mass produced and stuff. I think it's totally different. Software, I know somebody that works at Motorola. He's a real engineer. Like, he works on electronic engineering he does the cell phone stuff. He said they have software guys. He's not a software guy. They have software guys, they have engineering guys. They're totally different. If you're in your early 20s today, would you go to a college or just take courses such as Pluralsight, Udemy? I would still go to college because I liked college. It's an experience. I think everyone should go. You meet girls, you can party, you get a choice of other careers. Maybe accounting. Accounting is a good career. Business law, medical. That's where you figure out what you want to do. And if you just went to a technical school, you're going to be just in technical, right? You need to look at all your options. That's what the point of this channel is. Do you want to be a programmer? You can if you want to be, but you really have to love it. How do you monitor your progress when you're learning on your own? I don't know. I just kind of know when I'm learning. I just kind of know if I take a quiz or something and I get them all wrong, I know if I'm doing bad. You should know. Embedded engineers understand hardware. Okay. I'm sorry if I'm missing you. These are starting to scroll really fast. You can go to college or not. It just depends on your path. I would go again, though. Alright, so you think database-oriented assignments are not necessarily to be a good programmer or work with data. I think they're great. Almost every time I have to deal with databases, right? Even DevOps engineers. Amazon Web Services has its own databases. At some point you need to store that data. You need database knowledge to be full stack. You want to know everything. DBAs is a career in itself. There are people that just do database. They are called database administrators. All they do all day long is they look at the databases, they make sure they're backed up, they make sure that they're efficient, they make sure that they're not corrupted, they make sure that they're secure. That's people, that's all they do. Now, as developers, we still need to understand databases. We write to them, we read and write, and we store to them. But that's a whole career path. Databases, good. You need to know them. Is Python in high demand compared to other languages? I think businesses don't use Python that much. I think computer science and scientists use it and universities use it, and it's a great language, but I don't think it's in high demand as far as businesses and corporations go. But definitely learn Python. I love programming, but my friends all say I should not program. They say it doesn't earn me much money if I only know 2 languages. Is that true? Well, you need to know more than just 2 languages. You gotta love. If you love it, do it. You're gonna make a lot of money, but you gotta be willing to learn more than languages. You have to be willing to learn front end, back end, databases, how data flows. All right. Is there any future with WPF? Should I focus on WPF? I don't think so. I don't hear about WPF anymore. Windows Presentation Foundation. Windows apps are good. A lot of what I do now is data. I move data around, especially documents. I don't hear about WPF anymore that much. Windows apps are. I don't do much Windows apps either. A lot of it is like storage, and a lot of it is processing. That's why we use AWS and Lambdas. We do a lot of processing on there. We need to move files and documents. I'm in the healthcare industry, so we're moving healthcare documents around, and we're sorting them, and we're parsing them, and we're storing them, and JSON is good. XML and JSON. I hope you see this, man. I hope I didn't miss any. I'm going to go back up and see if I missed any. I did boot camp in JavaScript and React. I still can't find a job. How can I land the first job with no experience? I'm going to give you a very, very important thing my college professor told me. He said, be willing to move. Be willing to relocate. If you're in a small town, a small area, You might need to move to a big city. I moved to Chicago, and I got a lot of my experience there because there's lots of people, there's lots of jobs, there's lots of companies. I got my experience in the big city. I didn't like Chicago because it's too big and cold and nasty. Be willing to move somewhere. Go where the jobs are. Get your first job where they need you, where there's high demand. If you haven't gotten your first job yet, be willing to relocate, even temporarily. And then you have more latitude to move back. Got it? Are there a lot of programmers in the health industry? There are tons of them. And we need even more because healthcare is so complicated. It is super complicated. There's so many rules and laws and regulations. There's behavioral health. There's pharmacy benefit management. There's life insurance. There are all kinds of health crap that you have to deal with. There's thousands of jobs in healthcare. I don't know. What do you think the scope of computer engineering in Europe? It's probably good. It just depends on the economy. I don't know. Is it better to learn through school or through online tutorials like Linda? Linda's good, but school is good too. I heard somebody's moving to Thailand with a laptop. I heard you can live really, really cheap in Thailand. Really, really, really cheap. So you'll probably be okay, but I don't know how the jobs are there. Is it better to be best at one technology or good on many things? It's best to be really, really, really good at one thing and expand. That's what I'm an expert at C#, but I also know SQL Server. I know Linux. I know Windows. I know JavaScript. I know Amazon Web Services. It's best to have a core and then expand out. All right, did I miss anything? I'm going to be shutting it down here in a couple minutes. I hope this helped. Let me know if it helped. Do you have open source do you have GitHub? We are using GitHub at work right now. Yeah, so I don't care for it that much. I like the old source control, but we are using Git right now. How do I separate my work life from my personal life because it gets to me whenever I'm not able to solve a problem or have a bad day? Yeah, you got to learn how to leave it at work. Oftentimes, when you sleep on it, the next day it will come to you. You got to leave it at work, man, because you're going to be doing this for 20, 30 years. If this is your career, leave it at work, come back the next day, and it will come to you. I swear. It's crazy. But if you have that drive, but then the question is, what do you do, right? And my answer is, I don't have anything. I'd have to drop down to minimum wage. All right, a couple more questions. What's the easy way to learn back end? Get SQL Server and start inserting data into it. Insert, update, delete, select. Take a Udemy course on SQL Server. Create a database. Create tables. Put customers in them. Select, get data from it. Sort the data. Group the data. Union the data. Delete the data. Just get a database and start doing it. Do it, man. Take a Udemy course on SQL Server or your other favorite database. I think I dropped off there. I'm sorry. All right, I'm going to answer one more question, then I'm done. Let me know in the comments if you like this. Please look at the links in the description for everything. I hope you like this. Let me know. I'll do it again. Let me know what's good, what's bad. I'll answer one more question. Any website you suggest to practice for getting a job as a junior developer? Udemy, classes, Pluralsight, Lynda. How important are APIs? Very important. We use them all the time now. Oh my God, here comes more questions. I don't know anything about telecommunications. Thank you. Thank you, guys. It's been about an hour, and I'm going to do it again maybe in a couple weeks. Let me know if you want it. I'm going to say goodnight, and look at the description. Thank you. Thank you.